Good tea. I'm back with a fan video all about painful foods. So that was a really fun episode to do. There's tons of great comments on there, and this one at the top that I really, really loved comes from I Love Computers. And I Love Computers asked, wait, is this a clip show? And it is. Thank you for noticing. So I've always wanted to do a clip show. I grew up on sitcoms with clip shows, and I just thought it was the best thing ever. And we're in season 4 now of What's Eating Dance. We have so much to choose from. Spicy foods are fascinating, and there's tons to talk about. So we did a clip show. So check it off the bucket list. Anyway, let's dig into some awesome questions and comments here. So this next one comes from David Reynolds, and he says, please replace Dan. Please, please, please. Well, it's not very nice, actually. Oh, wait, it actually goes on. With anyone, exclamation point. Maybe even if you have to and need to save money, just put up a picture of a dog or a cat. All right, well, you got me there. I do love pictures of dogs and cats. So, all right, I'm in. Let's do it. Okay, next question. Here's a good one. This comes from Jorge Barnett. He says, please do mustard. Your explanation of the effect of vinegar on the horseradish applies to mustard making, but there's not many explainers on the science and how to get mustard right each time. Thanks. That is a fabulous call, and he's totally right that the science is really, really similar for making mustard. We have a great recipe on Cooks Illustrated, but there's not a lot of explainers, so I'm going to put that on the list for a future one. Thanks, Jorge. That was great. Okay, next one. This comes from PB Bryant 271828, and he says, do an episode on light bulbs. I like mine raw, but it goes great on pasta and in stews. All right, well, I hope you're kidding. As you saw, there's a couple PSAs in my video to specifically not eat light bulbs. Raw on pasta and in stews. I mean, it doesn't sound bad, but don't do that. Don't eat the light bulbs. We talked about that. Next one comes from Dan H. He says, need a Science Baby shirt and tote bag. Science Baby. So I love that. I'm going to work on that. We have some great merch on americastestkitchen.com in the shop. Some stuff for Cooks Illustrated, America's Test Kitchen, really fun stuff. But we don't have a Science Baby tote and t-shirt. So thanks for that tip. We'll get on that. All right, next question comes from Flynn. So this question, is there something that can be done to salvage a salsa that was made too spicy? I get that adding more tomatoes or diluting with water would work, but I was wondering if adding another element like sugar or, I don't know, a base, like a basic compound, would do the trick without having to add too much volume. Thank you. So that's a really good question. I feel like that's a thing that happens to people all the time, not just with salsa, but with spicy dishes where you're adding it and it's really hard to take it out. And so diluting it, making more salsa, that's always a way to go, where you're just adding more of everything until it's balanced, but you may not have those ingredients on hand. So sugar is a really, really good idea. Sugar, when we eat it, kind of lights up the pleasure centers of our brain. So it provides a kind of a counterbalancing pleasure to the pain that you're experiencing. So in dishes, a lot of dishes that are really spicy often have a good amount of sugar in them to kind of get that balance. So that's really smart. Again, you're gonna make your salsa a little bit sweeter. It might not be what you want there, but that would definitely work. The other thing, and again, I don't know if you want this in a salsa, but it can work in a lot of dishes, is fat. It can have a dulling effect on our taste receptors. So adding fat to a dish can help with saltiness, but it can also help with spiciness. So maybe not in salsa again, but in other dishes, you can get fat and sugar in there, and those are two great ways to go. Great question, Flint. Thank you. Next is from Mike Doherty. He says, so if chemesthetics make you feel a faux pain, is it compounded when the spicy food is actually hot temperature-wise? What about spicy cold food? And then he's got the little emoji where it looks like someone's head is blowing up with a nuclear bomb. So this is an awesome point. And I definitely find that to be true. If I'm eating something that's really spicy and it's hot, like if I have a bite of it, my mouth starts to get really spicy and I go back to have another bite of it, or a soup or something in a broth. If it's hot, it feels a lot hotter all of a sudden. And there's actually a really interesting thing that happens in the other direction with mint and menthol, whereas if you have that and then you take a sip of cold water, it feels a lot colder. So you're tricking your taste buds, and a lot of stuff's going on there. And so absolutely, I think hotter dishes temperature-wise will feel hotter when it's spicy. So that's why I mean, spicy cold food, a ton of like Sichuan salads are just incredible because they combine the spice and the coldness. It's so awesome and refreshing. Great question. Next up, Uptown 3636 says, why am I suddenly craving braised light bulbs in a red wine sauce? Man, I'm sorry. I shouldn't even brought light bulbs into the equation. I feel like I'm causing more problems than I was solving. What have I done? Please don't do that. Red wine sauce, I love those, but I don't think light bulbs are gonna be good in it. And next up, we have, I think it's probably the last one here, from Deb Pacello, and she says, Dan, do you write your own shows? Pure brilliance. I do write them. Thanks, Deb. Why don't we end on that positive note? See you next time.